Alright, picture this. You're managing a massive, cutting-edge AI project, handling billions of transactions, interacting with financial systems worldwide. You need to move money, secure assets, and comply with regulations across countless jurisdictions. So, the question is, how many banks do you think a system like that would need? 1? 2? Maybe a handful? Stick around, because we're diving deep into the fascinating and surprisingly complex world of how a sophisticated AI like Gemini manages its financial infrastructure. We're not just talking about a simple checking account here. We're talking about a network, a web, a carefully constructed ecosystem of financial partners. Before we get into the specifics, let's set the stage. Gemini, as a large language model, doesn't directly use banks in the same way you or I do. It doesn't have a debit card or a savings account in its own name. However, the entities that develop, maintain, and utilize Gemini, and the infrastructure it relies upon, do. And that's where the banking relationships come into play. Think of it like this: Gemini is a powerful tool, a resource. And like any resource, it requires support, funding, and maintenance. Those functions are handled by the companies and organizations behind it. They need to pay for computing power, data storage, engineering talent, and a whole host of other operational expenses. And to do that, they need banks. Now, let's break down the different layers of this financial interaction. First, there's the operational level. The day-to-day funding of the infrastructure. This includes paying salaries, purchasing hardware, and covering the costs of data centers. For these routine transactions, the organizations involved would likely use a network of commercial banks. These banks would provide standard services like checking accounts, wire transfers, and payment processing. However, it's not just about routine transactions. The development and deployment of a system like Gemini involves significant capital expenditure. We're talking about investments in research and development, building and maintaining data centers, and acquiring specialized hardware. These investments often require access to capital markets, which brings us to the next layer of banking relationships. Investment banks play a crucial role in facilitating these larger financial transactions. They help companies raise capital through issuing bonds, equity, and other financial instruments. They also provide advisory services on mergers and acquisitions and other strategic financial decisions. So, when companies behind Gemini need to raise funds for expansion or development, they would likely work with investment banks. Then, there's the international aspect. Gemini is a global project, and its development and deployment involve organizations and individuals from around the world. This means dealing with different currencies, regulatory environments, and financial systems. To navigate this complexity, these organizations would need to work with banks that have a strong international presence and expertise in cross-border transactions. These international banks would provide services like foreign exchange, trade finance, and international payments. They would also help companies comply with the various regulatory requirements in different jurisdictions. Now, let's talk about the security aspect. Given the sensitive nature of the data and the financial transactions involved, security is paramount. The organizations behind Gemini would need to work with banks that have robust security measures in place. This includes sophisticated fraud detection systems, encryption technologies, and compliance with industry standards. Furthermore, given the scale of the operations, risk management is another crucial factor. These organizations would need to work with banks that have strong risk management frameworks and the ability to handle large volumes of transactions. So, to answer the initial question, how many banks do these organizations use? The answer is, it's not a simple number. It's a network, a complex web of financial relationships. It depends on the specific needs of the organization, the type of transaction, and the geographic location. It's also important to understand that these relationships are dynamic and constantly evolving. The financial landscape is changing rapidly, and the organizations behind Gemini need to adapt to these changes. This means constantly evaluating their banking relationships and seeking out new partners that can provide the services and expertise they need. Another consideration is the nature of the data that these organizations handle. When dealing with sensitive information, especially financial data, compliance with regulations like GDPR and other data privacy laws is crucial. This means working with banks that have strong data protection policies and procedures. Furthermore, given the increasing focus on sustainability, it's likely that the organizations behind Gemini would prioritize working with banks that have strong environmental, social, and governance (ESG) policies. This means choosing banks that are committed to reducing their carbon footprint, promoting diversity and inclusion, and adhering to ethical business practices. The evolving landscape of fintech also adds another layer of complexity. With the rise of digital currencies and blockchain technology, the organizations behind Gemini may also explore partnerships with fintech companies and digital asset custodians. This could involve using digital wallets, stablecoins, and other innovative financial solutions. We must also consider the potential for partnerships with central banks. Central banks play a crucial role in regulating the financial system and ensuring its stability. In the future, the organizations behind Gemini might explore partnerships with central banks to develop and implement new financial technologies. Now, let's address a common misconception that AI systems like Gemini are somehow independent of the financial system. The reality is that AI systems are deeply integrated into the financial system, and they rely on a complex network of banking relationships to function. The financial infrastructure that supports AI systems is constantly evolving. As AI technology continues to advance, we can expect to see further innovations in the way these systems interact with the financial world. In the future, we might see the development of specialized financial services tailored to the needs of AI systems. This could include AI-powered fraud detection systems, algorithmic trading platforms, and automated compliance tools. The complexity of the financial relationships involved in supporting a system like Gemini highlights the importance of understanding the interconnectedness of technology and finance. As AI technology continues to evolve, it's crucial to consider the implications for the financial system and the need for robust regulatory frameworks. The key takeaway is that the financial infrastructure supporting a system like Gemini is not a single entity, but rather a complex network of relationships designed to handle a wide range of financial needs, from routine operational expenses to large-scale capital investments, and everything in between. It's a dynamic system that adapts to the changing needs of the technology and the evolving landscape of global finance. With that said, thanks for watching, and until next time.